James Hetfield has always looked like the untouchable face of Metallica, but the real story behind this new chapter is a lot more fragile than the image he built on stage. After stepping back into rehab in 2019 and later filing for divorce from Francesca in 2022, Hetfield has now shocked fans with a surreal underwater engagement to Adriana Gillette, a moment that feels less like celebrity gossip and more like proof that even the strongest people can be forced to rebuild from the ground up. Before the public ever saw the engagement, Hetfield had already lived through a stretch that would have broken a lot of people. In 2022, he filed for divorce from Francesca after 25 years of marriage, ending a relationship that had been part of his entire adult life. And the split came with the kind of quiet heaviness that says the damage was already done long before the headlines caught up. The two shared 3 children, so this was never just a celebrity breakup, it was a full life being reshaped in real time. And even that pain had roots in what came before, because Metallica had already been forced to pause in 2019 when Hetfield returned to rehab, with the band telling fans they were devastated, but fully supporting him as he focused on getting healthy again. That period made one thing brutally clear. Behind the sold-out shows and the larger-than-life image, James Hetfield was fighting battles that most fans never saw coming. And just when it looked like he was disappearing into the wreckage, the next chapter of his life started to take an unexpected turn. That moment in Brazil hit fans so hard because it shattered the image of James Hetfield as the guy who never cracks. In the middle of a Metallica show in Belo Horizonte, he admitted he was feeling insecure about his playing as he got older, and instead of hiding it, he said it out loud in front of a massive crowd while his bandmates moved in and wrapped him in a group hug. It was raw, unexpected, and the kind of scene that makes people realize there is a very different story happening behind the leather, the distortion, and the larger-than-life stage persona. And it did not come out of nowhere. Just a few years earlier, Metallica had postponed tour dates when Hetfield re-entered a treatment program in 2019. And in his own message, he thanked fans for their support while talking honestly about the challenges of being human in that career. By the time he stood there in Brazil, the pressure, the recovery, and the years of holding everything together had all collided in one emotional flash. And once that mask started to crack, it became clear that the next part of his story was not about surviving the past anymore. It was about rebuilding something completely different. The deeper you look into Hetfield's story, the more it stops sounding like rock star excess and starts sounding like a man barely holding himself together. His struggles with addiction go back years, with Metallica first forcing a major pause when he entered treatment in 2001, and then again in 2019 when the band postponed tour dates so he could focus on recovery. What made his honesty so powerful is that he never tried to dress it up as anything glamorous. He has said that fear was one of the biggest forces pushing him forward, especially the fear of losing his family, and that his wife at the time kicking him out made him finally face what was really happening. That pain was laid bare for the world in Some Kind of Monster, where fans saw a version of Hetfield that was far from the untouchable frontman they thought they knew. Instead of the myth, they got the truth, a man being stripped down, rebuilt, and forced to confront himself without the armor. And once that kind of collapse happens in public, there is no easy way back, only the chance to decide what kind of life comes next. What makes Hetfield's comeback so compelling is that it was never just about getting sober or surviving a rough patch, it was about learning how to live without the armor. In later interviews, he has talked about recovery as a process that forced him to stop hiding behind the frontman identity and start being honest about what was actually going on inside his head. Because the old way of pretending everything was fine was never going to hold forever. He has also said that being on stage feels more natural to him than regular life, which says a lot about how much effort it took to rebuild himself away from the spotlight and inside his own real life. That rebuilding also showed up in the choices he made outside the music. Hetfield moved his family to Vail, Colorado years ago because he wanted to be closer to nature and away from the Bay Area environment that no longer fit the life he wanted to live. That shift mattered because it gave him something he had spent years chasing in other ways: space, quiet, and a little bit of control. Instead of feeding this chaos, he built a life that was smaller, calmer, and more grounded. And once that foundation was in place, the next surprise in his story did not come from a stage, a headline, or a scandal. It came from love. Leaving California wasn't just a change of scenery for James Hetfield, it was a complete reset. After decades in the intense spotlight of the San Francisco Bay Area, he sought peace in the mountains of Vail, Colorado, trading crowds and flashing cameras for forests, wide-open skies, and a slower rhythm of life. Hunting, hiking, and embracing nature became more than hobbies. They were therapy, a way to reconnect with himself on his own terms. Freed from the pressures of fame and the judgment of the music industry, Hetfield could finally explore who he was without the constant mask of Metallica. This move wasn't just geographic, it was symbolic of a deeper transformation, a deliberate step toward a life defined by balance, reflection, and choice. And while he rebuilt his personal world in quiet isolation, the universe had another unexpected turn in store that would bring him back into the kind of connection and joy he hadn't known for years. It was in this new chapter of solitude and self-discovery that James Hetfield found love again. Adriana Gillette, his girlfriend, became the anchor to a life he had spent years trying to reconstruct. Their relationship wasn't flashy or orchestrated for the cameras. It grew quietly, naturally, and with a depth that resonated with the struggles he had overcome. The engagement, revealed in an unforgettable underwater photo where James held up a sign asking Adriana to marry him while swimming with whale sharks, was a perfect metaphor for their journey. Rare, unexpected, and breathtaking. Adriana described it as the most special proposal she could imagine, saying in her post that in a sea full of fish, they caught each other, highlighting not just romance but survival, trust, and a second chance at happiness. This was more than a personal milestone. It was proof that after years of pain, loss, and self-reckoning, Hetfield had found stability and love on his own terms. The engagement wasn't just a celebration of love, it symbolized an entirely new era for James Hetfield. After years marked by addiction, a painful divorce, and public vulnerability, he was stepping into a chapter defined by choice, clarity, and emotional honesty. Fans saw a man who had once seemed invincible finally embracing the reality of life's fragility, and in doing so, he became even more relatable. This new phase wasn't about leaving Metallica behind or erasing the past. It was about integrating those experiences into a life that felt authentic and grounded. As Hetfield moves forward, the engagement, the move to Colorado, and the personal growth he's achieved all signal a remarkable transformation, proof that even in the darkest moments, reinvention is possible, and love, stability, and purpose can emerge when least expected. James Hetfield's journey shows that even legends aren't immune to struggle, heartbreak, or reinvention. From the depths of addiction and the end of a decades-long marriage to public vulnerability on stage, he has faced challenges that could have derailed anyone. Yet, through introspection, relocation, and rebuilding himself from the ground up, he has emerged stronger, finding love, stability, and a renewed sense of purpose. His story is a reminder that no matter how dark the past, it's never too late to start over, embrace vulnerability, and create a life defined by choice rather than circumstance. For Hetfield, this new chapter isn't just about personal happiness. It's a powerful testament to resilience, proving that transformation is always possible, even for a man who once seemed untouchable.